Well, welcome back, everybody. This is my first, which I would call a semi political conversation or commentary because it is not live and I'm not taking phone calls or comments as we are going. But it is a time that I can explain my political views, and I kind of touched on that in the very first episode, of which, for so many years, I had to be politically correct. I no longer have to be politically correct. I no longer have to, and for many years, like I said in the very first video, is that I was always declared as independent. I wanted to see both sides of the equation before I voted. But we are not talking about theoretical politics. We are talking about theoretical politics, but we're not talking about Republican versus Democrat today. We'll get into that later to find out where my views are. All right, the first subject that I have chosen for today is there is a new California mandate by 2035 that 100% of all automobiles have to be either electric or hydrogen fueled. Wow, what a mandate. There's rumors that they might save 50% or 30% by 2028 or 2027, but it doesn't matter. Our current grid, we already get interrupted on power to our homes. What in the world are they going to do with a grid that is 100% dependent on electrical in order to make vehicles run? We don't have the infrastructure for it. Don't have it now. I don't know what they're going to do later, and solar is minimal. There's a video out there which I actually watched. It's about an hour and a half long about Lake Mead. Lake Mead is like at 20 to 25%. So we're not even doing hydroelectric within California. We just don't have the capability of it. And then on top of that, we have to make all these batteries that are going to power these vehicles. What are we going to do with these batteries? I know we have lithium, availability of lithium in order to build batteries, but how are we going to recycle all this? We don't have that many pure electric vehicles on the road today. I don't know. I'm going to take a guess, maybe 1 to 2%. But if we're 100%, what's the duration? What's the longevity of these vehicles? And what are we going to do as these vehicles need new batteries? Not going to haul them to a landfill, I would hope not, because that would be more catastrophic than doing nuclear power. Because nuclear power, which is probably the most productive, because the U.S. government still uses it on submarines, and so there's got to be, or in aircraft carriers, the bigger ships. But there has to be a reason that the government does nuclear. It's based on weight, based on volume, and longevity. what's the longevity of a pure electric vehicle? Uh, I know that they cannot travel more than, right now, maybe 300 miles, which is about the same expectation you would have out of a gas-fired vehicle. I mean, gas or gasoline, internal combustion. I'm going to have to start this again. Well, maybe not. Combustion engine. I don't mind you seeing me mess up. And my engineer isn't here yet, so I'm still doing this at my desk. And it's only, post number 5 now. Even though there's only been 3 recordings, because I didn't realize that I had to split one of them in 2. So, but it doesn't make any sense that if we're not getting our power from the solar, and obviously we're going to lose hydroelectric, where does our power source come? Even though you plug it in, yes, it's clean. But where does that power come from? No, that power comes from burning oil and turning it into electricity. Or I think, could be wrong, I think our largest producer of electricity within the United States is coal. I'm fairly certain of that. I have not done the research. Feel free to correct me if I am incorrect. So, here you are. You are creating power, and then you're transmitting that power over long distances, which is why Tesla won out over Edison, because DC drops off so fast that they lost too much of the energy that was originally produced. So, creating power within your own vehicle, theoretically you are utilizing 100% of that power for what the task is. I'm a 100% believer in solar. I think everybody should be independent on solar, to where if the grid goes down, you have power to power your home. Or if the grid goes out, who knows? I don't know. There's a couple of movies or series out there that kind of touch on that base, but this 2035 mandate, and you're thinking, hey, I'm not from California. I don't have to worry about that. Yes, you do. Just like catalytic converters. How many states now? California was the first to mandate catalytic converters. How many states have that now? California is the leader on craziness. But we don't have, there's no resource or viable, I'm assuming we're going to form a new committee, is if we need one, that's going to monitor the battery. And then, bottom line is, what is the cost of the vehicle versus what it's worth? Let's assume you have a 2007 to 2009 hybrid, which has a big battery in the middle of it. And it's just it's not a pickup, it's just a sedan, a small sedan, like a Malibu or a, I don't know, Ford Taurus or something like that. That vehicle is only worth, in fair condition, from maybe $2,700 to $3,500. But it has to be operable. It has to be running with the battery intact. If that one battery goes out and you have to replace it, it's going to cost you close to $4,000 to replace it, just so you can sell the car. I understand that there's what they call packs, whether it be statewide or federal wide, that are pushing, and they pay a lot of money to sway votes. I just don't get it at this point. They're going to make battery systems that will last 20, 25 years. I know they're on the cusp of it, but they're not there yet. So all these not only do you have to pay for the battery to be put in, which then you can't afford to sell the vehicle, you just, well, keep it, and then wait till it burns up or whatever, and bury it, or donate it to a church. But at some point, sanity has to come into this. We have fossil fuels, and it doesn't have to be gasoline or diesel. Propane. Propane is 100% recyclable. I mean, it actually helps our environment rather than hinders it, because the exhaust comes out as oxygen or water. Same thing with hydrogen. I don't know that I'd be willing to drive a vehicle which has a small, effectively a small hydrogen bomb under the hood.